Ashe Russell, a highly athletic and dynamic pitcher in the 2015 class that was taken in the first round by the Kansas City Royals. But he hasn't thrown a pitch since 2016. What happened? Hey guys, this is Brett with Baseball Prospect Analysis, and today we're going to talk about Ashe Russell. Also, if it sounds like I'm lisping my words a bit or I'm a little bit stuffy or something like that, I've had the flu or the cold or whatever it is for about a week now, but I really wanted to get this video out for you guys, so bear with me on that. Been tweaking the audio a bit to make it sound a little bit better, but I did what I could. Now let's get into it. Ashe Russell was a 2015 right-handed pitcher out of Indianapolis, Indiana. He was 6'4" with a 195-pound frame, and he's verbally committed to Texas A&M. He attended Cathedral High School and played travel for the Evo Shield Canes. Ashe had an extremely projectable build, using a 3/4 arm slot with a very efficient lower half that he used to generate power. He had major plus arm speed, a plus mid-90s fastball that topped 97, and had heavy life down in the zone. His slider was a great complement to his fastball. It sat in the low 80s and was very sharp. He had pinpoint control of it when he was able to throw it glove side. His changeup was still in the development stages, but was nothing to snub your nose at. Overall, a solid athlete who projects big in the future. Plenty of gas left in the tank is what they say. He participated in the PG All-American game, participated in the Under Armour All-American game, ranked number 7 overall and the number 1 right-handed pitcher in the country. He was named the 2014 and 2015 Gatorade Player of the Year. In 2014, he led his team to a 20-3 record, boasting an 8-1 record, a 0.88 ERA, 74 strikeouts, 8 walks, and 49 innings pitched. In 2015, he led his team to a 24-3 record by posting a 6-1 finish with a 1.02 ERA, amassing 67 strikeouts in 41 innings. His freshman and sophomore season weren't too bad either. After his freshman season, he was able to commit to Notre Dame. He'd later decommit in August of 2014, only 5 days before the PG All-American Classic. For his sophomore season in 2013, he went 12-1 with a 1.23 ERA. He had 101 strikeouts in 80 innings, having a team record of 28-1. They lost a state game at the end of the year, sadly, though. When his high school coach was interviewed, he stated that his slider, when he's on, it really is devastating. Now here in May, June of his senior season, it's a crumbling pitch for batters to try and hit. By his senior season, Ashe had developed his slider to become a true plus pitch. Prep opponents had a significantly hard time hitting the ball, especially when it was paired with his fastball. Mechanically, he wasn't too bad either, but he did need to further his development a bit. He hit the ball well due to how far back he's able to cock his arm, but this sometimes causes issues. He can get out of sync, causing his arm to be late out front. Not only does this cause him to miss arm side, but it also poses risk for injury. Having late arm action puts extra stress on the elbow and can result in injuries such as tendonitis, forearm stiffness, and worst of all, UCL tears. However, when he is in sync, his two pitches make for quite a devastating combo. Other than mechanically, concerns involving his command and developing changeup did linger, but many scouts agreed his athleticism and quick-twitch arm speed more than made up for it at the moment. At the end of the day, the kid was an athlete who got better every year as a prep and showed promise that he would follow suit as a pro. Heading into the draft, Bleacher Report had him going 18th overall, 17th on Baseball America, and 28th with Sports Illustrated. Baseball Prospectus didn't even have him in the top 50. And finally, MLB.com had him ranked number 14 overall on their top 100 draft board. When asked about this, Ashe said, "I try not to pay attention. I've seen where I've been picked 7th overall and 68th overall, so I don't look anymore. When the time comes, they'll decide, and hopefully it works out for the best." I'd say personally that's a pretty confident attitude to have, and I definitely would agree. Going into the 2015 draft, Ashe was obviously nervous. But then again, who wouldn't be in his position? I mean, your life could change in the matter of seconds, and the longer you wait, the less money you get and the less chance people think you have to become an MLB pro. But finally, after waiting 2 hours of hearing other prospects' names being called, an anxious Ashe Russell finally had a childhood dream come true. With the 21st overall pick, the Kansas City Royals selected the highly projectable talent out of Cathedral High School. Ashe was ecstatic, stating, "They're on the come up with all their young talent. I'm excited. I'm happier than ever." Royals GM Dayton Moore admitted they were quite surprised he was still on the board. Ashe has a lot of power, a real high-profile guy. On June 17th, Russell and the Royals agreed to a $2.19 million signing bonus, which was about $6,000 over slot value for this pick. Texas A&M would no longer be an option, but I don't think they were really even in the cards at this point personally. And they shouldn't be. This was a dream of Ashe's and the dream of millions of kids around the world. He was now officially a professional athlete with a couple $1 million in his pocket to start. Now, before we go into his pro career, Let me just say, this segment will involve a lot of opinion and my take on what's going on based on my experience with a similar situation. I'll just leave it at that and you'll understand more as the segment continues, but let's head on. So Ashe, like many rookie first-year players, participated in an abbreviated debut season in 2015. He was assigned to Burlington, the Royals Appalachian Rookie League affiliate. There he started 11 games, finished 0-3 with a 4.21 ERA. In 36 innings pitched, he struck out 24 and walked 13. This certainly wasn't the all-star performance he put on in high school, but nobody expects a teenager to put up amazing numbers his first year as a pro. If he was a mid-20s guy drafted out of Vandy, then things might be a little different, but for an 18-year-old, the first year is all about getting situated and adapting to the environment. Now for Ashe, this may have been pretty hard to accept. You have to remember, this kid wasn't just projectable, he absolutely dominated in high school. He was used to throwing no-hitters in the playoffs and dicing just about every team he played since he was a freshman. Going from that to giving up 8 home runs and a 4+ ERA in your first pro season certainly could knock your confidence a bit. As for 2016, there really isn't much to break down performance-wise. He only appeared in 2 games for the Royals Arizona Rookie League team. In those 2 games, he pitched a total of 2 innings, striking out 1, walking 2, giving up 2 earned runs, and hitting 2 batters. Mechanically, something was off, and he just couldn't control the ball anymore. Royals assistant GM J.J. Piccolo stated, "He made some adjustments that have just been detrimental to having success. And now he's trying to let the ball go the way he did at one time, but until he develops that feel again, it's hard to let him go pitch right now." Going into 2017, Ashe took part in spring training, but was not assigned to a team. He would end up spending the rest of his 2017 in an extended spring training until after the draft. Following the draft, officials met with Russell to discuss his future and determine the best course of action. Within that meeting, it became quite apparent to everyone involved that Ashe was just not having physical issues, but a hefty mental one too. Piccolo explained, "I don't think he was having as much enjoyment with what he was doing the last year and a half. When you see players get to that point, you just want to help them, and sometimes the thing they need to do is take a step back and get away." Ashe's mental and physical struggles seem to compound into one, and just like Royals club officials said, when you're struggling greatly in both categories, it can be hard to attack them separately and find resolve. Sadly, when these incidents occur, mental health should always be prioritized first. Not just because mental health is more important than the ability to pitch a baseball, but because if someone like Ashe isn't confident in their ability and doesn't trust themselves, they'll never be able to work through the physical hurdles they have to face. And like any sport, at the professional level, baseball takes serious passion, persistence, and resilience to succeed. If baseball, at least right now, is causing him mental struggles, then removing that stressor for a while could help him regain his confidence and return to the healthier mindset. And that's exactly what they did. On July 7th, 2017, it was announced that Ashe would be taking an indefinite leave from baseball. Piccolo emphasized, "We're not worried about baseball one bit with Ashe. For things to happen good on the field, other things have to be in place. And starts with the mind and the heart. And when we get that right, Ashe can enjoy baseball again." However, one day after the announcement, Ashe's agent made quite the differing statement, claiming that Russell had not quit baseball, is working with the club, and just needed a change of scenery for his training. Now, I believe this is just an agent trying to do damage control. He wants to protect his client's image and keep him marketable, but releasing this statement right after the Royals released theirs makes it seem as though he's directly telling the media that the Royals are kind of stretching the truth. If I had to hesitate to guess, I'd say the agent was heavily against making this knowledge public, but the Royals felt the transparency was needed, so the agent decided to make his own statement to counteract the Royals. But that's just a guess, not an accusation. No need to sue me. Now we jump to February 4th, 2019. Just under 2 years later, a tweet by Jeffrey Flanagan would confirm that the former 2-time Indiana Player of the Year was ready to play ball again. Ashe would be competing in the Royals' 2019 spring training for a minor league assignment. We would also get some insight on the mental block that was hindering Russell since 2016. It was announced in the same tweet that he'd been suffering from what some call Steve Blass disease. Steve Blass was a pitcher for the Pirates who seemingly out of nowhere became incapable of throwing strikes. You have to look at it much like the yips. The issue generally isn't caused by a lack of physical ability or a lack of intent. Yips can be caused by a neurological condition affecting specific muscles, or most commonly by a severe case of anxiety or mental struggle. A friend of mine had the yips, and he was actually my bullpen catcher for one of my college seasons. His yips would not allow him to throw the ball back to the pitcher after catching a pitch. No matter how hard he tried, it would still take him 3 to 4 attempts to actually release the ball in my direction, and many times the ball would go sailing over my head or would one-hop my ankles. Oddly enough, when it came to back picks or throwing out a runner, he was one of the best we had. His yips only affected him when he would have to throw the ball back to the mound. So after a whole offseason of trying to fix his yips, we decided he would just lob the ball on a bounce to me. Most of the time it worked, and that's what mattered. The point I'd like to emphasize here is that if you can't fully get rid of someone else's or your own personal yips, you gotta find a way to change the movement so your body doesn't register it the same. That way you can work around the mental and physical block. Unfortunately, Ashe's exciting return to the Royals was cut short. In May of 2019, the 22-year-old elected to get Tommy John surgery. He was assigned to the Northwest Arkansas Naturals for the 2020 season, but due to a canceled season, he did not play. Finally, now in 2021, it appears a former first-round draft pick is on a minor league roster and active. On February 12th, 2021, the Quad Cities River Bandits, a high A affiliate of the Royals, activated Russell. It seems he'll be playing as well, as he's on their team website roster. They start games May 4th against South Bend, so hopefully we get to see him in action. So now I get the fun job of taking all this information I presented to you guys and try to make somewhat of a decent prediction of where he will end up, which at this point seems impossible. Other than Brady Aiken, no other prospect so far has quite had the ride like this kid. He was dynamite in high school and had 2 present plus pitches and a build that coaches truly dream on. But that was 6 years ago. No one other than the Royals and a couple lucky scouts have seen him pitch since then. For all we know, he could be in the bigs by 2023. So first, let's look at the positives. He's within an organization that has worked with the likes of Zach Greinke and Danny Duffy, 2 players who had their own off and on-field issues, and helped both of them become successful. Ashe was also able to work through his mental roadblocks and come back to the sport. This is something that I, myself, failed to do, and can only commend him for. Dealing with any sort of mental illness or struggle, especially with the pressure he had, is absolute torture. And you have to be pretty strong to fight back, let alone fight back and reestablish yourself in a sport that became a trigger for your mental struggles. If you or any of your friends or family have struggled with mental illness, then you probably understand how challenging and life-altering it can be. Whether it be slight or severe, it's never a fun thing to work through. So I have a massive amount of respect for him in that manner. Now, the negatives, unfortunately. First off, as I stated before, no one has really seen him pitch more than the bullpen since 2016. And even 2016 was very limited for him. We have no clue where he's at. We also don't know if he conquered his yips or made adjustments to reduce them from happening. These adjustments would be made mechanically, so once again, no clue if his stuff will be the same, if his velo is prime, and so on. Lastly, we gotta mention it, Tommy John. Was the surgery a resounding success? Does he feel natural with his new elbow? Or are things still kinda jerky? Or maybe the TJ was the best thing that ever happened and he gained velo due to the new UCL and copious amounts of rehab work. We really just don't know. My hope is he feels better than ever and starts 2021 strong and gets his mojo back. With all the craziness he's been through, I'd love to see a happy ending. But for the premise of this video, I'll put out 2 possible scenarios. The first one is he comes back and just isn't the same due to how long he's been out. His velo is in the low 90s with little movement, and his slider isn't as sharp due to new mechanics. He floats around A-ball, maybe double A a bit, and then retires in 2 to 3 years due to lack of progress. Now, for the situation I hope that happens. He comes back, has an average 2021, but uses it as a way to get back into rhythm. Gets promoted to Double A early in 2022 and is dominant from the bullpen with his plus-plus fastball and slider combo. Then secures a Royals bullpen spot in 2023. This would put him at 26, which is about 2 years younger than the average age of an MLB player. I think that would make for a really good comeback story and one to remember for Royals fans who watched the 2015 MLB draft. Either way, I have no clue what to expect from him. I just hope whatever happens initially this year, he rides with it and doesn't get discouraged. And that's it for today, guys. As always, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you sticking around and hearing this interesting story. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to toss it a like, and I absolutely recommend you subscribe to the channel. It's free, and you'll be the first to see my upcoming videos on current, former, and future MLB prospects. And lastly, I'd like to thank you guys for 200 subscribers. When I wrote the script, I had just hit 200, and now I'm almost at 300, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much. My channel has tripled in subs in about 1 week or so, and I'll tell you what, it just makes me want to pump out even more videos for you guys and improve the quality of the channel. So thank you so much, and go enjoy some spring baseball.